not the best. They would die to dumb shit because this one, especially this one rogue, right? He would love, and I mean love, to shit on me because my DPS wasn't the best. Sure, I was trying to play arms. Arms was top. My arms was fucking great, but I couldn't really do it, and I didn't even have the execute ring, so I really couldn't do it. But there came a point where I was playing Fury, and I had amazing uptime on stuff. I had amazing efficiency, and I wasn't putting out anywhere near the numbers of the raid leader was in his warrior. Figured it came down to gear. Not really sure. Maybe I just wasn't really good. But then, I mean, that guy, I would be alive every single time we would get a kill. So like, I was staying alive for mechanics. Granted, the amount of health I added to the boss due to flex, I didn't necessarily, you know, pull the weight that was for that. But it didn't really matter too much. Mostly because I was just interested in seeing the content on a heroic scale. And once they switched to mythic, you know, they didn't really consider me a part of it. Which is okay. Really enjoyed it. I mean, like, I enjoyed my time there. Didn't exactly enjoy being people. The raid leader and his girlfriend person were great. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Why stick around when people are shitty for the most part and they're not even doing mechanics, you know? Like, we would, like I mentioned, we would just die to the dumbest shit, and it made zero sense. I mean, zero. You would die to hiding behind something mechanics, and it was because they wanted DPS right up until they had to leave. I mean, just right up to it. And so that kind of stuff just really pissed me off. Where it's like, dude, sacrifice your little bit of DPS to get back safely behind what we're supposed to hide behind. Specifically, what I'm referring to is the first mythic boss of Tomb of Sargeras. The big old pit lord. We couldn't pass it. I don't think. Maybe we did. Check. The guy and his girlfriend were great, but the toxicity of the other players was awful. Specifically, two big instances. One was the fact that this rogue did a ton of damage, but he was missing a specific piece from Tomb that I believe drops off Maiden of Vigilance. Engine of Eradication. That's it. He was missing that piece and was pissed. And we ran a Master Loot Council, so one dropped, and I don't think he was there. And I was playing arms, or trying to anyway. And it dropped. Heroic Warforged. Engine of Eradication. And they gave it to me. And I was ecstatic, you know. It was a huge increase damage-wise. And really pushing to the end. It was like 810 or whatever, which was, I can't remember item levels at the time because they've been squished, obviously, as we see here. But it was a big upgrade. Next to having the hourglass from the Nighthold, which I did eventually get. Having the Convergence of Fates. It was awesome. Anyway, this ended up being a pretty big point of contention there for a minute. And what I mean by that is, I linked it one night in raid. Let me go ahead and queue up. I linked it one night in our raid, and he was livid. He would shout in Discord. He shouted in raid chat about how does this awful fucking DPS think? What does he think he is? Linking this shit. And why would they give that to him? Which they did and they didn't. It was, I can't remember if we were running personal loot that night or if it was Master Council. It's kind of going back on my story from earlier. But just absolutely livid. And this was a guy who was super toxic, being like, I'm better than you, but it was all bants, right? Like, it was 100% banter and had no real level of seriousness to it, which was fine. I could take banter. I could take even a level of toxicity. I've played League of Legends for a long time. I've played World of Warcraft since I was 7 years old. Like, I've encountered this kind of stuff before. That's not the issue. The issue is when you're being a blatant asshole for just me leaking a piece, wanting to bant with you. It's all I wanted to do. Have some good old back and forth banter. And you come attacking me when you're this assassination rogue who doesn't even know what his Cloak of Shadows button does, and I still don't even have a max level rogue, and I do. Hell, I even have Cloak of Shadows on my most current rogue, but it got to a point where he would just attack me for everything, so I ended up quitting due to that and some other big drama hit. I mean, and it does to all these mid-level guilds, right? That can clear one or two pieces of mythic, but can't really clear any level of any higher content than maybe the first couple mythic bosses, which are cakewalks for the most part. Which is a shame. It's a shame that they have to be such assholes, and it's the whole Dunning-Kruger effect, right? They hit that intermediate expert scale and believe that they're the best. I mean, the absolute best. When it's all damage. If you're not doing damage, then fuck you. This isn't Final Fantasy 14, man. Like, you do need cooldowns to live. They give warriors their jump. They give among other things, die by the sword, countless other. They give rogues fucking Cloak of Shadows, which at the time when Method was pulling, they were pulling like what 5+ rogues to kill Jaden at the time or something, because if Cloak of Shadows was that powerful. I mean, give me a break, dude. Use it. So I ended up leaving, and this was also the cause in a earlier guild. I'm not going to name any names here. Yeah, so we got Mythic Goroth. Cool. That was it. That's all we got. In an earlier guild, we ended up I ended up getting roasted a bunch from this one guy who played, I'm not shitting you, 15 hours plus a day. Thought that he was, super hot shit. Thought that he was better than everybody. He would pug the raid every night. Do any real content with us. It would be, oh, well, hey, don't invite them. They're not that great. Or, oh, look, they're coming. I guess it's not. And I was in his inner circle in a sense, right? But I wasn't really. Which was frustrating when you're essentially being told, when you're essentially being told, yeah, you're great, you're great, and then nothing, and then they ghost you because you might have had 1 or 2 bad runs or something. Well, he ended up leaving, and I found him, I think, on Suramar, or when it was linked to Tichondrius, something to that effect. I never said anything to him, but this was like a real, because it was on a smaller server. It was on Feathermoon. It was a smaller guild, very, not family oriented, but they were definitely like a close knit. That I never really broke into that group. And that's okay. You know, that stuff doesn't really bother me. But the fact that I did find something in this guy and his other friends that joined onto the guild, that I was getting regular content runs, and then, you know, after that point, not only getting regular content runs, but also getting gear and having people pretty much put me up first because I'm getting gear for stuff like raids and things of that nature, and then essentially getting ghosted. So he leaves. I'm still in the same guild, playing a monk now, and then I'm having higher efficiency, high gear. I was number, you know, Feathermoon has like 0 players, so I played the hell out of monk. I was like number 4 monk on the server, gear wise, sim DPS wise, but actuals were a lot different. I actually had like 97% efficiency, something just outrageous, and I was doing less damage than the monk lead, who was number 2 on the server or something to that effect. So that was kind of, you know, disappointing. But it happens, you know, it gets to that point where you kind of just stop caring because content's getting cleared, and the parse is never more important than clearing content. And at the level I was clearing content, who gave a shit? You know, there was no reason to, because I was clearing it. Maybe it's competitive nature, not really sure. But definitely something interesting to think about. It's definitely something I enjoy. I like to be good so I can bant sometimes. I mean, that's gaming, right? Hey everyone, Overmountain Gaming here. If you like this content, subscribe for more, like it, and comment down below. In addition, you can also check out my streams from where this clip is from, almost every single weekday night from 6 Central to 8 Central, and soon to be further. If you have any kind of suggestions, leave them below. Hit that subscribe button, and thanks.